Hello and welcome to another episode of The Person Behind the Pen. My name is Nick. I am your host and I am the founder of Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House. I cannot believe this is Thanksgiving week already. Don't know about you, but I feel like this year has just flown by. So if you feel the same way, I'd love to know in the comments. Need to know that I am not alone. I need to rewind 3 months right now. With that, I want to welcome everyone that's already coming in. I see people joining from YouTube as well, and I thank you. I know there have been some LinkedIn gremlins running around. So Sean Michaels, really appreciate you being here. Lovely to see you. Hello, Islam as well, and Jackie. I do believe that a comment came in for Lauren saying, my dearest Lauren, I apologize. It says LinkedIn user, so I'm unable to see who you are, but thank you for being here as well. Wow. Geez, not only is it Thanksgiving, but for me and for Guiding Brilliant Writers, we are in our last quarter of the first year in business. There is so much to be thankful for every day of our lives. But I cannot help but feel that this Thanksgiving, there is something a little bit extra to be thankful for. And that is the opportunity that I have been given by God, by my husband, and in some sense, yes, my courage to take this step. And it has been overwhelming in the most beautiful way. Very trying, yes, but I cannot believe that this would be the 7th collaborative book or anthology that I will be publishing, and actually not will be, because look what I have here. Oop. Oh, I hate these. There, got it. Oh my goodness, I hate these cameras when you have this background thingy. So beautiful. It came out really beautiful. We will try to see if we could get the back in a little bit there. Yes. This is the author copy that came in today. I can't tell you, I have every single book that I have published, whether by Guiding Brilliant Writers or the solo author, that straight out says not for resale. These books are so precious to me. These are the publisher's copies. And I hope that anybody out there right now is listening to this message. This life could be goddamn hard, It knocks you down and it knocks you down until sometimes you get to a point, it's not even about getting up. You just don't want to get up anymore. But we always do. And that is the resilience of the human spirit. That is the love that we feel around us, not just by our families, but by the people in our extended lives, such as within communities like this. And I know without a doubt that I could not be sitting here today if every single person that I see out there in the audience today hasn't somehow now been adopted and part of my legacy. And every single one of you really are. And that's the thing. We touch each other's lives, whether for a moment or whether for a lifetime. And that person becomes now entwined in your legacy. Big hello to William Rochelle. Hello, Nick. Hello, Nick. Yes, you said hello, Nick. Tracy, so lovely to see you. Chasen, hi there, and Kaleem. So what's going on with Guiding Brilliant Writers now? Let's talk about that really quick before we bring everyone up, because I'm going to get carried away and forget. So I am wearing all pink today. I am loving my Transformation Kitchen t-shirt. This nonprofit is near and dear to my heart. I have been supporting it now for about 3 years, and I happened upon it while I was working full-time still and fell in love with the mission. What I may not have shared is the reason why I fell in love with the mission and this particular project, Transformation Kitchen, is because I come from a third world country. I was born and raised there. we did not waste food. Food was very expensive, and we actually uh, lived a middle class to upper class life. I was very careful about what I wasted because that's the way I was raised. And I saw many, many, many friends in school come to school often without lunch. Or if they did come with lunch, it was very little. Um, and the one thing my mom always said was, I don't care what bills don't get paid, but if there will never not be a nutritional meal on this table. And that's something that I've carried with me. And so when I came upon this nonprofit, there was no way I was not going to throw my support. Guiding Brilliant Writers has not only been a sponsor, but we are also volunteering to publish the first annual Transformation Kitchen Cookbook, which will be released next March. And we have asked for people to join in donating a recipe. So please, if you're interested, we are cutting off very soon in just 5 days. So I need your recipes. Reach out and I am going to help with that. I'm going to mention really quick as well that I am a member of the Outlier Project, and I love this hat from them that says people everything. So, one of the core values of this publishing company. And to reinforce that, I want to share as we bring everyone up on stage. The other day, I was interviewed during Leadership Lounge with Lindsay Dowd, another Outlier member, and I was asked, who is the audience? Who are the clients for Guiding Brilliant Writers? And my answer was everyone. And it is indeed everyone. Guiding Brilliant Writers has had people pen their stories from as young as 21 all the way up to 78. So if this is not an age appropriate or non-appropriate type of exercise that you would come into. This is for anyone who wants to try something new. And my goodness, give yourself the opportunity to try something different. Who wants to challenge themselves, who may have had a book in them and didn't know where to start, or who, for that matter, simply wants to connect with other people like themselves. That is why you choose to write. And that is one of the reasons, or one of the many reasons, rather, some of the many reasons that you choose to write in a collaborative book. So, with that, I am going to welcome on stage Lauren T. Benberry, Sharon Rose, and Leslie Flowers. And ladies, welcome. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I know it is Thanksgiving week, and everyone is
Hi.
busy, 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 busy doing their stuff.
Mhm.
So tell me, I have to ask Lauren because she um, reached out to me to tell me she was leaving work. The traffic, which is always terrible, is just 10 times worse. And she was going to take all the back roads, which would take her through a mountain, but she thought she'd be here on time. And I said, look, you just make sure you concentrate and drive safely. You get here when you get here. And she got
I
here safely and a couple of minutes to spare, needless to say.
I got here with 5 minutes to spare.
Yay.
It was
Oh,
terrible,
oh,
terrible. I my job is literally right off of the freeway. I can walk to the freeway from my job, and I got to the entrance to get onto the freeway, and I just saw an ocean of cars, and I was like, of all days, I need to be home because I can in the middle of the day, I can get home in, 20 minutes. And I was like, of all days, I need to be at home. So I ended up taking the back road, and I know the roads like the back of my hand. So, but I pushed it. I was pushing it. So I'm here. I'm here with bells
well,
on. You can hear them.
it's like Murphy's Law, right? I swear, if it can happen when you don't want it to happen, it does happen every time.
I
Um,
know. I know. There
and
were 4 accidents though. I don't know anything about the accidents, but there were 4 of them, and hopefully everyone's okay. So
Yeah, you guys caught me off guard as well with the conversation about the weather. And Leslie was like, "Yeah, that's how it is." And Sharon Rose
Mm-hmm.
chimed right in too. And it's so like, Nick, are you living in a bubble? 45 degrees to 86 degrees is like what? Like I actually don't even haven't considered that there are places like that. I guess in New York, I wouldn't say the temperature ever varies like that much.
Mm.
More than a few degrees really from morning to night. So that explains a lot why I see some of you wearing beanies in the middle of the day, sometimes on live shows.
Mm-hmm. For
Oh,
what it's worth, I usually wear a beanie because I mean it does get cold here, and I love beanies in the winter time. Usually our cold weather is late December, February, through February is our rainy season. Um, but today it went because I went in early so I could be here for you guys. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to leave on time. When I left this morning, it was like 46 degrees, and I walked out and it's like 83 degrees.
that's
So
crazy. That's
by
crazy.
the time I got home, my face, I mean, I have air conditioning, but I think I was all worked up trying to make sure I got here on time,
Yeah,
so I'm,
too
I'm a
much.
little worked up.
That's crazy.
Hmm.
Leslie, you were telling me before that you were getting all prepared to do your turkey. It's funny. Fun fact: we did not celebrate Thanksgiving in Trinidad, so it was actually not something that I started celebrating until I moved here. And then I would get invited to other people's homes, and I would sit there, and the food was very odd to me. We don't really eat turkey. We Our stuffing's a bit different, and we most certainly did not eat cranberry sauce. But I think that one of the things I tried that I fell in love with and surprised me because it's quite sweet were the sweet potatoes with marshmallows. Is that right? Marshmallows.
Hmm.
How is that something you've made? It's like sweet potato with marshmallows on the top.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Uh, we do with pecans. There's very few marshmallows, but there's pecans on top and
Ooh,
coconut.
Ooh, that sounds
So
yummy.
it's like a side, but it really could stand on its own as a dessert.
Oh
Hmm.
my God, I love that
Leslie, we're
idea.
going to need that recipe in the Transformation Kitchen cookbook. So, if you're
Yeah.
not
Oh
doing
my
anything, there's
God.
a 5-day deadline.
Well,
Just type
actually,
it up and send it off.
that is was my husband's aunt's recipe, Aunt Mildred's sweet potato casserole. And then when she passed away, my daughter took it on. And ever since then, every year. So I'd have to get the recipe. Can I attribute it to Aunt Mildred?
But of course,
Of
Okay.
course.
Okay.
absolutely. By all means, give her the credit. I think that would be lovely, especially the submission of it. That holiday is celebrated all throughout the year. And
Yep.
there are people, I'm one of them, that did not celebrate such a holiday. But every single ingredient you mentioned, especially when you think of, a root vegetable and you think of coconut, Trinidad is a tropical island. We certainly have lots of that. What a nice way to try similar ingredients in a different way. Thank you, Leslie.
Sure.
Oh gosh. So I just wanted to just warm up a little bit. We are going to be talking about our legacy chronicles, of course. But so much of these conversations lend to the fact that we're people. And
Hmm.
Leslie has a traditional dish that was passed down uh, through marriage, right? Sharon Rose, what are you up to for Thanksgiving? Are you cooking?
No. And Thanksgiving and I follow a high fat, high protein protocol. So when I turn up at a Thanksgiving dinner, it's like turkey and the sweet potatoes, and if there's some sort of greens, and that's all I eat. I don't want the white mashed potatoes. I don't want the stuffing. I don't eat the bread. So I'm kind of a party pooper when it comes to Thanksgiving meals. So um Yeah.
But you're
But
actually leaving the best for everybody else, right? So
right.
don't,
Yeah.
no
And
regrets.
yeah, yep. I do like pie though. So sweet potato or pumpkin pie, that I could do. You know, those are vegetables, root vegetables. I'm with you on the root vegetables. And marshmallows, I like that because that's sweet and they're actually pretty healthy. Like root vegetables or marshmallows. They come from a root. So
Wow, I had no idea about that. Well, you know what? I am not going to be able to enjoy.
Okay, I'm sorry. Say that again.
Yeah,
I
you had
know.
to
marshmallows come from a root.
Because they are just like pure okay, so
Well,
sugar.
yeah, they're doused in sugar, but if you were to, you could technically make your own. I was hardcore paleo for a long time, like when I first got on it, and like I was following the autoimmune protocol for it, and I would do things. I was putting cricket flour in my smoothies. Like I was approaching
Wow.
having like there's an eating disorder, I forget what it's called, but where you just refuse to eat anything that isn't healthy. Orthorexic, I think it's called. And I had struggled with eating disorders before when I was a teenager, like anorexic and bulimic. Not that I had like body issues, but I would overtrain. And when I was trying to stave off puberty, and it just doesn't work like that.
Super
So,
interesting. You're going to have to share that with us
oh,
off screen because I'm dying to know how this relates to a root vegetable. But
mm,
let us get into our book. And how excited are you guys that this book is going to be launching on Thanksgiving itself? Oh my God, I am like over the moon. I want to know now that you've seen the proof copy. And I did a video as well just for you guys. That's so it's not to be shared. I want to know how each of you felt seeing, the cover in print, and then seeing yourselves at the back and your name and everything like that. So, Lauren, we'll start with you.
okay. I have to be honest. The book, I was looking at the book when you sent the video today, and it is absolutely it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. The cover, I love the colors that you chose. It's beautiful. Um, on the way here uh, to do the show, um, I had a little bit of a panic attack. I started to realize that the book is coming out this week, and I started to realize that um, I started thinking about my dad and how, because today I took it upon myself to send him a few of the videos, the one that Aaron did after our show on Friday. And I sent him the 2 videos that you sent today and the original one that you did. And because I started to think that maybe he didn't think it was serious. And remember, I had mentioned to you that he hadn't asked.
It's interesting.
And
You did. You did.
I did. And so I sent him all of the videos and I said, this is the book. It's coming out this week. I haven't heard from him today. But with that being said, I had a little bit of a panic attack on the way here. And it was almost like a rude awakening for me. Um, I have a lot of mixed emotions because there's things in the book that, my family doesn't know and that I have not shared. And I'm sharing with the world all in one. I mean, it's like everyone, it's explosive. Um, but
It
I'm
is.
okay with that. I had said that, I'm excited. I'm nervous and I'm excited to read other people's. Um, you know, I, I I'm excited. And, there's no turning back. It's let it be written, let it be done, right? It's
I love that. Let it be written, let it be done.
mhm,
At the end of the day, as long as the feeling of excitement overpowers everything else,
mhm.
because this is
I
a
am
moment.
I am excited and I'm
Good.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the opportunity,
Good.
you know. There's just so much going on all at once. Doing the shows and seeing the videos and hearing about other people's stories. And what made me realize, sometimes we tend to think that we're the only ones going through something. And when you hear other people, like Sharon Rose and I, we were on after the show on Friday, we were texting each other and we kind of got to know each other a little bit. And, you learn so much about other people and the stories that they're going through. Everyone has a story. I've said that before. But it's incredible the life that's behind the person, other people and what they go through and how they've gotten to be the person they are now.
Indeed.
You know,
Indeed. Thank you, Lauren, for sharing.
Thank you.
Leslie, I'm passing this question on to you. And I know this is certainly not the first book you would be holding in your hand. And it's the second year you're penning your legacy. So what are you feeling, when you see this, once again, another one with your name on it?
Well, I had a very specific focus when I started doing this last year and thought that I would finish it this year because I became very aware that there were things I didn't know about my grandmothers. Both grandfathers died during the Great Spanish Flu. So my parents were raised by a mother, who worked, and the kids raised themselves in a lot of ways. But when we were growing up, I loved them when I saw them, but it never occurred to me to ask them any questions. We were all too busy, right, living our lives. And the same thing has happened now. I have 4 grandchildren, and they're 2 are 20, and one is 19, and one is 18. And so last year, they started asking questions, and my sister's children did. So that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to write everything I know about myself and about our family when they came over from Russia and Poland and all the connections to Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo and all that excitement, right, during the, I guess the late teens in the 20th century. So this year, though, I was really stumped about what to write about. But one thing I did get very clear about was that I couldn't do the rest of my life, that it had to be in 3 25-year chunks. So the first was everything I knew about me all the way through getting married. And then this one is about getting married, having children, and the grandchildren come along. Right. And then next year, God willing, I will do the last 25 years as how I've served others and, through my work. So it's nice. It's nice to complete another one. It's always exciting, right, to see it. And what's interesting is I knew no one has read last year's. Because I know my family, and I called them out on it. I said, have you guys read this? And my daughter-in-law said, I was sitting right by it. I said, don't worry about it. You will once I'm gone.
That's
At least you won't be asking the questions that I wish I had asked. So that's why I'm grateful and looking forward to next year too. And this year, of course.
Well, you know what? I think that when everyone comes over, before the turkey's carved, you say, I have something to share with you. And you read the chapter from last year. And then you slap the copy down of the new book and you say, here, if you want to know what comes next.
Well, I did actually print it out and read it to my neighbor and her daughter. And it was the first time I actually heard the whole thing, from start to finish. And they were laughing. So I know that what I did was special.
It really was, and I cannot wait for people to read it. You took a very unique writing style. I really enjoyed reading your chapter, and I feel that it pays tribute to each of your grandchildren equally. That isn't always easy to do when you write a story, right? There's so many people that you want to pay tribute to. I mean, oh my goodness. That alone would be a chapter, just all the names of the people in a short story. but you did that and still kept it in a very um, entertaining story form. And
Yeah,
I
well, you shall we tell? Can we tell
tell
what
what?
the form, the story form that I used?
But of course, it's your chapter.
So, you guys, I was stumped and was in a conversation with Nick, and it was like the second to last day. Okay, Leslie, you have one more day. Okay, Leslie, you have one more day. And I'm very good at painting myself into a corner. But I couldn't get my head around me and everything about me like I did last year. There was a different purpose. But anyway, during our conversation, I got this kind of stroke of lightning, right? An idea. And I remembered that when I was 17, I wrote a play. So I've written a live play with me and my 4 grandchildren when they're about 10. And they are asking me about how I met their granddaddy and the stories that they love to hear about their parents, my children, because they have these stories that we've told over and over again. And they say, Nana, tell the story about this, tell the story about this. But I actually made it a play that actually could be acted in real time. So that's why it's so special. So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm excited for that because I remember asking my grandmother stories. Well, not necessarily asking per se, but if my grandmother were with her friends when I was 13, I would always go with her to play cards. She taught me how to play this game that's very popular in the Caribbean. And so I would sit with her and her 2 other friends, and I felt very special because I was 13, and they were all my grandmother's age. But they would start chit-chatting about their kids, and of course I was listening on everything. When she started to talk about my mom and my uncle and aunts growing up, and that's when I would be like, tell me more, tell me more. Really? My mom was mischievous? My mom gave you trouble? What? I want to go home and tell her you said that. Just kidding. But that's what I loved that came out of everything. So
Thank you.
thank you, Leslie, for sharing
Sure.
that.
Sure. Thank you.
Sharon Rose, do you want to tell us a little bit about your chapter? Your chapter definitely, I feel, delved, like I had mentioned before on a show, a little bit in a realm that I'm not terribly familiar with. And so, sharing such a unique point of view, and this being your first publication, and it being tied into your legacy, I mean, what did you think when I opened this up and I sent a little picture and I said, look, there's your picture. There are your twin girls.
I thought, well, it's done now, right? Because they're 13, so they always want to give final approval on any photo that's published anywhere, whether it's online or now, God forbid, it's in a book and print. So that made me laugh. Um, yeah, they will get to read it, and they're going to be very excited because it starts sort of not with the beginning, well, kind of at the beginning of my life, and there's a lot more to tell, obviously. And I in the middle, like you were talking about a panic attack, Lauren, I was having that in the middle of my chapter, and I was just cutting things because I thought, oh, where am I going to get all these words? And then I was way over the limit, and so I had to go back and refine it. But I felt for them, it was important that they understood where I came from, and in that I was adopted at 4 months old. My mother had told them this story when they were 3. So at 3, they probably didn't really understand what she was saying to them. Now they're 13, 10 years later. So they have a better grasp of what that means. But it was more about like how it formed and shaped me and a little bit of what I had gone through. And I really feel like starting at an orphanage and then being adopted at 4 months old, that really shaped my relationship with spirit, because it was just me, myself, and I am, right? So I was always around angels and the divine, and that's who I communicated with. And then being an only child, I didn't have siblings to confide in. And so, at one point I would kind of channel that energy into, like, I call them manifestation props, but like Barbie and her friends, because they weren't telling my secrets. So I wanted them to kind of understand that, it's okay to talk to your deceased relatives, because both of my parents are on the other side of the veil. So they can't ask them any questions about me. I don't have any siblings for them to ask. And I have a ton of cousins, 19 first cousins on my mother's side, but they've never met half of them. So we're not close in that regard, that they would have stories about me as an adult or whatever. So yeah, and it's just me dipping my toe in the publishing and authorship field, or pool, if you will, and then coming out of the spiritual closet with all my gifts and how I've been navigating the 3D world from the 5D space, I guess.
I love that you kept true to who you were. You share the essence of the way you live your life. And that, is the subtitle of A Letter to My Family. This is my story. So thank you so much for sharing that. I am going to actually run that very special video that Aaron Gibson produced for our book, and that Leslie Flowers wrote the lyrics for. I feel that the video and the words really express or capture everything that this book is, if you had to sum it up in 5 paragraphs. So let's take a listen to this.
You have it within you. Your voice etched in word upon the page. Let us all gather in this harmonious moment, a link of insight learned from life's stage. The voices of the past whispered through the dust and flame, carry joy and sorrow in stories without name. How did we not hear them? How did we not see the echoes in our laughter, the grief beneath the tree? In my heart I yearn to leave something behind, legacy in the spirits I care for, a journey in scripture resisting time. Speak as the voice of what has been, for the children who will wonder where the soul of time has been. No need to rewrite pages, no way to shift the tide, but we can shape the silence with the truth we hold inside. In my heart I yearn to leave something behind, legacy in the spirits I care for, a journey in scripture resisting time. So write today in our future voice, let the ink be brave and kind, for those now walking forward, leaving shadowed years behind. With memories like lanterns and hearts that still recall the long ago becoming the meaning of it all. In my heart I yearn to leave something behind, legacy in the spirits I care for, a journey in scripture resisting time. Born for this, born to write, born to speak up, born to fight, born to dream in the dead of night.
You know, the last anthology we did in July, We Choose to Be More Than Our Diagnoses. I can sing that song, every word. I know without a doubt by the end of this year, I'm going to be able to sing this entire song as well. These things really just, the creation of these things take the whole writing process to another level. And I'm just grateful to be surrounded by all the people that I am, that are willing to step up, team up, partner, and lend their talents, not to myself, but to everyone that participates in these collaborative books. So again, thank you to Leslie and thank you to Aaron. So I had another question. Let's go. And I'm going to ask the audience the same thing. And I did ask something similar, I believe, on one of the other shows. But if you could sum up the word legacy, the meaning to you in one sentence, what would that be? Who wants to take a stab first?
I would say legacy is how I want to be remembered and that I have something to do with it. Lauren, you go ahead because I've already talked plenty, but it's how I want to be remembered, and I get to create. That's what I'm doing, is intentionally creating, whether they're reading it or not, how I will be remembered.
Lovely.
Yeah. Thank you.
What about you, Lauren?
You know, I think that Leslie said it best. I mean, you know, when you think of the word legacy, you know, you want your family to remember who you were and the type of person you were and the type of person that, you know, the things that you did and the things that you said. When I think of my mother, you know, I remember who she was and how she was. I remember her smell, the way she walked into a room and how she ignited conversation. And that was her legacy. And that's how I would want my children to remember me. I will say this, I sent the videos to my youngest son, and he's 19, and and I also sent him pictures of my grandparents, and he just came back with a barrage of questions about my grandparents, and I love that. And so it, you know, it stirred up questions in him, and so I think that's what a legacy is, you know, leaving behind things that we want our children and their children, things that we can pass on. You know, and I just want to say to Leslie, I don't think you have one ugly grandchild.
Right?
Her granddaughters, oh my gosh. Every time I see a picture of your grandkids, I'm like, this lady does not have one ugly grandchild.
Right?
Well,
I told
the
your
beauty comes from my side. The
of
beauty
course it does.
for sure.
Our whole family is like a really good looking.
I know. But
It's a
your granddaughters,
beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you
oh,
would not
well,
see the beauty in them if you didn't have it within you.
absolutely. But you know, I will say every time I see you post a picture of them, those girls, let me tell you, they are stunning. I've been wanting to tell you that, and I said, next time I have an opportunity, they are beautiful. So anyway, thank you for letting me share that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that we have these family pictures at the
Mhm.
start of the chapters. At the
Mhm.
end, you will see the profile picture with the bio of the writer.
Mhm.
But I felt what that does is as you read the story and it mentions the names, if you will, of different people, you may have an idea of who in the picture is that person.
Yeah.
And there is nothing like putting a face to the name.
Mhm.
So because I have now seen pictures of, all of your family, and you share as well and post, special moments, trying moments, other things like that, I feel I've come to know them a little bit, even just that way. So this gives me an opportunity to actually get to know them more intimately and to see them even deeper through your eyes and that connection. So that's not just me. That's going to be anybody that's picking up this book and reading this.
Thank you.
Karen Rose, what about you? What does legacy mean to you in one sentence?
Legacy means that my children and their children and all the descendants after will know my essence and the impact that I've left on the world.
Wow, I of course I muted myself there. Oh my goodness, you really summed that up in one sentence. You know, we all have a similar, and it's interesting, right? We may have used a couple different words, but we all have a similar idea of, and it is a thread that does carry through in the theme of the book. However, each story again is different because the journeys are different. Um, summing mine up in one sentence, notice I say tonight because I think it depends on the night that you ask me, honestly, and what is, transpiring right now. I would want my husband in particular to know that I couldn't learn to love myself the way that I do now if not having understood the way that he loves me. And I say that because I am going on and off of mute and he's sneaking in the front door and I know he's hungry. And I go on mute and I say, start the microwave. It's okay. I already put your food in there. And then I'm watching him sneaking over to the table to eat. Um, that for me is what I need him to know. That I see every day the way that he loves me without him saying a word. And I cannot love myself any less than the way that he loves me. So in this moment, that feels like the piece of me that I would want to leave behind for my future generations. And should they get into relationships and marriages, how good it is supposed to feel on both sides, not just one. Ah, I've enjoyed the conversation very much, and I am seeing comments out there as well, and I want to show them. Um, that's that is so on point with what you share in your live shows, Sean. It really, really is. And I see William also threw up um, a message comment here, and I want to share this. I would have to relive some very traumatic moments. So you would, and it's not easy. It's not easy. And I've shared this before. You know, as you start to write, in most cases, band-aids are going to get ripped clean off. And you might not even be picking at the edges to peel it off.
Nick, on that subject, I'd like to share that with William and also people that are thinking about this. When I first wrote the play, I did not put my grandchildren's name in there. I don't know what it was, but I was resistant. So I had grandchild B, grandchild C. And that made it really complicated when we read the book together. And she said, I'm confused, Leslie, who was who, right? And then I woke up one day and I said, this is for them. Why? So that there was a resistance within me because of privacy, because whatever reason there was some fear, not big fear, some trepidation about putting it out there. But then the next layer came right? And the wisdom came after Nicole said she was confused. And then I realized, well, why not put their names in there? Their pictures are in the front. So I would encourage you to do it, that it isn't as, you get to go as far as you want. Right, Nick?
Right. Very, very
Or
well
as deep as you want. So there's no pressure to open a wound that you may not be ready to, or you may be now by next year. You might be ready next year.
No,
Can
and
I?
I have. Sorry, go ahead, Laura.
I just wanted to, because I read that too, what William wrote, and Leslie, you touched on that very thing that he wrote. And when I wrote, I started out with the most traumatic thing for me. And I remember when I wrote it, I got up out of the chair and I was just crying. And I called my best friend and I read it to him. And it was liberating, but it was also very traumatic. And I remember just crying, but I just kept on going. I kept on going, even though I didn't go into detail, and I can remember details, but I didn't put those details in the story. And I don't know if I ever want to go into detail. I just know that it's there. And so I understand that, digging deep into the trauma. But as long as you acknowledge it and you embrace it and you understand it, it's okay. It's okay as long as you know that, you know, it's yours. And you just, for me, I just know that I'm okay. And that's part of my story. So William, I just wanted you, I saw that. So I felt that here.
I really appreciate you guys sharing that. Sharon Rose, is there anything you want to add before we move on to the next question?
No, I think that's absolutely true, especially with you as a publisher. You don't press us, you let us like go as far as we can. And, it's important that we know our audience. And obviously mine's a little different than everyone else in the book because my children are still pretty young. But I know there's more to share, and I know you'll be there when I'm ready. So thank you. Much
Yeah,
gratitude.
and I was thinking about that recently as well. I have started these projects, and I have had a handful of people, for various reasons, step away. And a couple of times it was, I really thought I was ready for this, and I'm not. And it isn't my place to push you. You know, I feel that my place is to share with you what you can get out of the experience if you're willing to open yourself up to it, and to let you know that if this is not the time for you, that opportunity is always there. Now, publishing it is one thing, but it does not mean you cannot write it. You can write it. It does not mean you have to publish it. So you can take that writing journey on by yourself without joining one of these. Sit with it. There may come a time that you are ready to release it into the world.
Mhm.
Okay, so I am going to ask you guys one last question. And then there are one or two comments that I will try to address, but we have 6 minutes left right now. So, who most influenced your personal legacy? Stan Rose, you want to go? I'm going back to front now.
Sure. I will say definitely my parents, but between the two of them, more so my father, because he was like no one I had ever met. And he really saw me, like me, like at a soul level. And he supported that, like all my eccentricities and weirdness, and encouraged it and didn't try to make me hide it or mm, like subverse it. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the essence of my chapter is really to get that through to my children, like own your sovereignty and, advocate for yourself and your dreams. Like, don't ever let anyone crush your dreams. So,
You
and
did
he
that
was all
really well
about
in
that.
your chapter.
Mhm.
Time and time again. It really did ring through. What about you, Lauren? Who has had the most impact on your legacy personally?
Wow. It sounds so cliche, but my mother, my mom, she was the one woman that I never wanted to be anything like, but I am just like her. And I am so grateful that I am just like her, that I took everything that she taught me, and I retained it. I took everything that she said not to do, what to do, how to do it, every word from when I was a little girl. And it's all locked up in my heart. And my ex-husband, who passed away, everything that he said and taught me. I mean, I met him when I was 15, and he made a huge difference in my life. And he passed away, but they were the two people that influenced me. So
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
And Leslie, what about you?
Well, I was reading Bill's comment, and
Yeah, I'm gonna go back. Well, we have a few. I'm gonna try to get to it.
realized that my father beat us, and I made it through. And this is who I didn't want to be. Now, he was brilliant, but his life was with beatings also. And yeah, and I would say that I never wanted to do that. And I too was married to a man for 30 years who helped me smooth the rough edges, because I was a smart-ass know-it-all, and I didn't manage my emotions well. And my parents, I guess they did the best they could, but they weren't very great parents with what we know now, especially beating us all. So, my husband for 30 years had his faults, but he was raised by this sweet Christian woman, and he was all about kindness. So over 30 years, it softened me. And so now I get to live the lessons, and also with the kindness. So thank you.
And that's why it's so important that we talk. And in a space like this, we're limited in numbers of who we share with and the things that we learn. When you publish, that's an infinite platform for your words to reach. And so, as we're going to close, I want to thank everyone that joined and let you know that, we're very much looking forward to the book coming out. We've posted the launch day party. Please come on. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do some Thanksgiving trivia, have a couple little giveaways. And to Bill, know that you have incredible support out here. There was a show that I did once, and I shared quite a bit about my childhood. And my sister and I received a lot of floggings. Mentally, it really hurt us. And physically, we often went to school with the marks to prove it. In a third world country, ain't nobody going, I'm going to call the cops on you. Oh, yeah? No, it don't work like that in a third world country. That does not happen. But I did learn later on that my father also received his unfair treatment, if you will, from his father. And it was certainly something that passed down through a cycle. And that isn't always the case, and it certainly isn't excusable by any means. But it's something that I had to confront, and these ladies are sharing bits and pieces of that as well. So this conclusion actually sums up another heart-centered reason for wanting to participate in a project like this. That it does, in fact, bring so much healing, and so much healing to the people around you, far more than you will ever know. It opens up dialogues. Lauren's son wants to know more about his grandparents.
We're
Right?
finishing up Nick's live, comma, the person. Oops, sorry.
Oh, busted! I'm just kidding. Anyway, with that, I just wanted to make sure that I thank everyone again for coming. This is the 3rd annual Legacy Chronicles. Woohoo!
Thank you, Nick.
You are so welcome.
Thank you.
And yes, people tell you, oh, you got to be realistic. Yes, you do. I have bills to pay too. But don't think for a minute you can't dream and can't make something happen. I never thought that I would publish a book, far less to get to the 3rd in the series of this book, 3rd year running. All right. So have a wonderful night. Go out there, continue to be inspired, and inspire someone else. You have it in you. So share what you have. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank you.